Hey guys, Tara Anglis here from Vibrant Hairstylist. And today I have a really important message to share with all of you. Today is the first part of a 4-part series that I put together for you guys. And it's the 4 Ds. And the first part of the 4 Ds that we're going to touch on is on the topic of disease. We are dealing with a lot, like a lot. And to be honest, there's no time to be wasted because the commonplace language in our field is that the probability of us ending our life with disease is above average in a very big way. The reality is most of us grind. We work hard as F. And unless we grind it out and work in a different or a better way than what history has revealed to us, the results won't change. And it's time to look at raising the standard of our industry, and it's going to take involving you. You are going to have to help make this happen, and I'm going to share why. And remember that in sharing and making changes, that there's a ripple effect that's going to go out when we raise that vibe in our standards on an individual level. It ripples out to our clients, it ripples out to our friends and our family, because one small change or a couple small changes can make a world of difference. So let's talk for a second about results. Some of you may already know that I openly share about the risks of toxicity in the cosmetology field, and I don't share to scare, I share to empower. And in the last 10 days, I've had some very serious conversations with some industry colleagues, which has led me here, encouraging you to raise your standards starting today. So some of those conversations that I've recently had, one girl in particular was experiencing excruciating chronic pain interfering with the mobility of her arm. Like when our bodies don't function, we can't make money, right? And not only does it affect our physical, but it also affects our mental, okay? I've recently had a conversation with another woman who is suffering from breast cancer. And cancer, when we look at the statistics of cancer connected to cosmetology, it's alarming. Another girl I had a conversation with just a couple of days ago was with polycystic ovary syndrome. This is another, like the reproductive implications of working in our field are vast, okay? These are all commonplace when you look at the data from the studies that have been done in our field, and they show that we are almost expected that anybody who is working decades in our trade is going to end up with some type of dis-ease. So it's time to break the cycle. That's why we're here. That's why I'm sharing. And you have to be the one to help make it happen because it starts with you. So let me ask you this. Do you know how hard it is to be healthy in a hospital? This question was posed to me a few weeks ago at the Most Powerful Women 2022 event, and it was like an epiphany to a hard truth that no one wishes for, but it is a truth. And if you follow the science for the medical results that are showing for our field in correlation to hairstylists, you'll learn very quickly that the power lies in understanding 2 things when it comes to protecting our health. The first thing is oxidative stress. The second thing is xenoestrogens. And that, my friends, can change the story. So oxidative stress reflects an imbalance between the systemic manifestation of reactive oxygen and a system's ability to readily detoxify or repair the resulting damage. So basically what that means is we are being hit no matter whether we're working in the hair field or whether, it doesn't matter who we are. Every single day while we're awake, while we're sleeping, we are being hit with oxidative stress. It's that electrical firing system that happens while we are alive. It's why we age. As we age, like the oxidative stress gets harder for our body to be able to handle as we age. And because of the type of environment that we work in, our oxidative stress is higher than the average. Okay. So when we look at this again, the definition of oxidative stress, it reflects an imbalance between the systemic manifestation of reactive oxygen, so the reactive oxygen, and the ability for the system to be able to detoxify or repair the resulting damage. So that part means we have to be consuming, feeding our body fuel in order to be able to readily detoxify or be able to repair, so that we can prolong the damage, basically age well, to offset the risk or the damage from oxidative stress. Okay, so oxidative stress is very important to know. And then xenoestrogens is the second component. So xenoestrogens are synthetic chemical compounds that bind to estrogen receptors and send false signals, disrupting our endocrine system and altering our bodily functions, mainly through estrogen dominance. Every woman who chooses to work in the profession of cosmetology is going to be affected by xenoestrogens. There is no way around it. It does not matter if you are using organic products, clean products, sickly, deadly products. You are going to be affected in some way when it comes to those estrogen receptors being blocked and sending disrupting signals to our endocrine system. So estrogen dominance is a real thing when it comes to choosing a career in the world of helping other people be better, be more beautiful, and feel better about themselves. Okay. And again, I'm not sharing this to scare you. I'm sharing this to empower you. So the key is making sure that we have clean sources of energy that helps to offset oxidation. Okay. So holding our power lies in focusing on you. And I've mapped out 5 areas to help you prioritize that. So the first area that you want to prioritize is nourishment is essential. The more plants that you add into your body, the more it's going to help with that detoxify and repair. The more you can help with that detoxify and repair, the more you're going to be able to offset the damage that's happening from the exposure to those xenoestrogens. And if we don't have quality source nourishment, we are going to age more rapidly than the average because of the xenoestrogens. And we are probably going to end up with some kind of a chronic illness or disease that is going to either prevent us from working, or, you know, in some cases, cancer kills the host. So in order to protect ourselves, the first thing we need to do is make sure that quality nourishment is essential. The second thing that you want to do is protect yourself from your environment. Our environment is like, it's the sugar in the recipe. It's probably the worst ingredient for us. However, there's ways that you can protect yourself in your environment. Ventilation is like big. Making sure that you're wearing gloves all the time when you are working with any products. I know that it's hard to wear gloves when you're blow drying somebody's hair or using the styling aids at the end of the finish. But when you're using chemicals, obviously you want to make sure that you're protected with gloves. When you're shampooing, as often as you can, you need to protect your skin as an organ from the xenoestrogens in the products that we use. Any product that is man-made is considered a chemical compound of a xenoestrogen in some way, excluding essential oils. But you're not going to be able to get a shampoo that is just essential oils. Okay, there's other things that are going in it to make it cleanse the hair. Okay, so ventilation and protecting your skin are probably the two biggest ways that you can help to protect yourself from your environment. I know I've worked in a few salons where the ventilation was very poor. When you are looking for a space to work in, ventilation is important. The third thing, so we've got nourishment is essential, protecting yourself and your environment. The third thing is understanding the risk of xenoestrogens everywhere in your life. It's not just when you're showing up to work. Like I'm talking about artificial aromas. A lot of places have, like we all want our homes to smell nice, but there are certain things that are going to cause us more harm as far as chemical exposure. Another area is cleaning products. Trying to make your own is probably one of the best things that you can do to help avoid harsh chemicals. Like anywhere that you can reduce or eliminate. Like one of the things that was really important to me is I purchased a tower garden. I don't know if you've ever heard of one, but I vertically grow my own food in my dining room because that was a way for me to be able to reduce my chemical exposure in a very large portion of the foods that we eat in our home. Food is sprayed with so many chemicals, even when it's organic. So it's just a way for me to be able to completely eliminate a portion of chemicals that I'm not exposing my body to so that I can perform or combat those xenoestrogens at a higher level. Okay, so the fourth thing is being open to additional opportunities. This is another area where, yes, we have a huge passion to do hair and that's our world and it's our life. But the thing of it is that if something shows up, like one of the 4Ds, the first one we're talking about today is disease, it's really important that you have some other way of supporting yourself. So just being open to other opportunities, whether it be renting a room out in your house or maybe joining a network marketing company or picking up some side job. Like there's just, it's really important to know that not having all your eggs in one basket when you're working in the world of beauty and cosmetology. It's just really important to diversify and being open to other opportunities to reduce the risk of your exposure to disease. The fifth thing is I really want you to pay attention to some of the signals that your body is sending you. I know for me, when I was working full-time, like well, more than full-time, and I'm sure a lot of you listening are probably more than full-time also. But some of the signals that my body was sending me, the first one, which I was very naive to, I didn't know what I didn't know, was infertility. So I've never been able to get pregnant. And if I had known in my early 20s what I know now in my early 40s, maybe things would have turned out differently. But that was the first signal that my body sent me. I never had miscarriages because I wasn't ever able to conceive, but miscarriages, if you look at the science on the risk of miscarriages in hairstylists, it's crazy what the numbers are. So some other signals that the body might be sending you is chronic fatigue. That is where things usually start. And it's not always easy to identify because we have pretty busy lives, but chronic fatigue is definitely a signal. Another signal would be chronic pain. Any of y'all feeling a little bit achy in any spots? Like the first sign of inflammation in your body is usually fatigue. The second sign is usually some sort of a pain. It's your body saying, there's more going on here. And if you don't start listening, it could manifest into something bigger. Headaches is another one that is a common signal. Weight gain, I could do a whole talk on stubborn weight gain, specifically related to xenoestrogens and how that works as far as our body going into protection mode. It's a really interesting concept, but weight gain is, or not being able to lose weight is another common signal that our body is sending. So the important thing to know is that root cause, whatever happens, whatever that signal is that your body is sending you, the root cause is stemming from inflammation. There's two types of inflammation. There's systemic and there's, I think it's called acute. So acute would be like if you sprained your wrist and then it swelled up, and then once it healed, it goes down. But systemic inflammation is when it shows up in your body and it's something that you live with if you don't work on reducing or getting rid of it. So the root cause usually starts there. And the reason why inflammation happens, or the reason why it shows up, is because we have too much oxidative stress happening in an area of our life, whether it be like from exposure to chemicals like what we work with, whether it might be from, let's say somebody sitting in your hair chair and they have a really stressful job where it's emotionally draining. Like that is another avenue for oxidative stress to be higher in their own world, in their own way, where it's leaving us open to our predisposition. So when our oxidative stress is higher than the amount of nourishment that we're adding in, because we add good nourishment that helps to detoxify and repair with our oxidative stress, it closes that gap. But the further away that that gap gets, that's when the inflammation creeps in. So when you have inflammation that creeps in, that's when our predispositions to our family health history stuff shows up typically. So for my family, infertility, it is there in other ways. Another thing that shows up in my family is heart disease. I definitely am being monitored as I age because of the high risk on my dad's side. Like pretty much everybody in my dad's side over the age of 60 has had major heart surgery. I want to be able to change that generational gap, or like that, just really flip the switch, because heart disease, just like reducing oxidative stress, like when we figure out what that root cause is, we can now be educated and empowered to make changes to help reduce the risk, right? So those are your 5 areas where it's really important for you to be able to protect yourself from one of the 4 Ds, which is disease, especially in our profession. So nourishment is essential, protecting yourself in your environment, understanding the risks of xenoestrogens everywhere in your life, being open to additional opportunities when it comes to outsourcing your income, and then paying attention to the signals that your body is sending you. So as I close off this quick video with you, I want you to think about this. Illness tests our character, and we can't tiptoe around it. So put yourself in a position for the magic to happen in breaking the cycle of disease in the cosmetology space, so that you can arrive at retirement at a whole new level. So stay tuned for part 2. The next video is going to be covering the second part of the 4 Ds, which is probably going to be on the topic of debt. So stay tuned for part 2. Look forward to chatting with y'all again soon. If you have any questions, you can definitely comment on the video, and I will make sure that I personally reach out to you to help you out with living in a more well at ease body, especially while working in the cosmetic industry. Thanks for listening, and big hugs. Bye for now.